Okay, Senatape, welcome to Native Wellness Institute's Wellness Wednesday. Yahoo! I'm having some gratitude attacks. You know how some Indians have heart attacks, eh? Heart attacks, and not to, I have all these other panic attacks. Well, I'm having a gratitude attack. So I War Pony just pulled over, and I got this new truck. So welcome to Native Wellness Institute's Wellness Wednesday, positive, productive, and proactive dialogue, so that you could be happy, eh? Anyway, I got this new truck, and the screen, if you could see it, is, I don't know, 14 inches by 12 inches. You're driving, well, you're not supposed to be looking at a screen that big. And but I just figuring out all the buttons. And one of my buttons, I just push it and bam, I'm on the Power Hour. NWI Facebook Live. Anyway, welcome to Native Wellness Institute. As you know, we've been coming to you on Facebook Live with the Power Hour, with topics that help us Indians, like real Indians, and then the fake Indians that become real Indians. It helps us with the teachings of our ancestors, and to think about what can we bring into our lives in terms of behavior that helps us feel better in our mind, body, and spirit. So I just thought I would talk. I'm coming from, and of course I always touch base with you. I just went back to work. Yesterday was my first day of work after 15 days of a vacation, or people say vacay, or going on vacay. And I realized, shit, my life is not like that separate. There isn't like the work life and the life. They're blended, and I try to show up, suit up, and show up. Some of my qualifiers are, I have 36 years of sobriety, last May 3rd. I have some 50 years in Al-Anon with Alateen, showing up, so I'm still pretty sick, eh? It's okay, because none of us are perfect, eh? Or none of us are perfectly well. So I just wanted to check in with you. And why did I choose this topic today of gratitude attack? And I think I heard one of my mentors, who is no longer here, she passed right at January when the pandemic started. It was Ann Wilson Schaaf. And Ann Wilson Schaaf was a mentor. She, in the 80s, wrote, Addictive Society. She wrote a meditation book called Women Who Do Too Much. So any women that do too much? Any LGBTQ two-spirit that do too much? It's like manic, chaos junkie, an unhealthy pattern where there should be more gratitude attacks that bring you to a more balanced or harmonious life as an Indian person, as a Native person, as a First Nation, as someone who lives in a village in Alaska, an Indigenous person. You might live in Canada, Indigenous person in Australia. You might be a Maori person that lives in New Zealand. All of these beautiful places where, I was just feeling, I was having a gratitude attack because of the color of my skin, eh? Because this last vacation time and healing, I just came across so many stories and so many families where if you were darker than a paper bag, your stories were really different than if you were lighter than a paper bag or could pass for something else other than being an Indian, or enrolled tribal member, descendant tribal member. And so this gratitude, and I'm just saying, I'm not saying, that this is the best skin to have, because my skin is 68 years old. and I was never a lotion person, but one of in Blackfoot, Blackfeet, Scapi Picani, I had a gratitude attack, remembering my Aunt Melinda. And it was just this morning because I was remembering her, because Auntie used to, and it's an Indian thing, we lotion up. I mean, like if we get scaly here on our elbows, your badass aunties and your mamas and your two-spirit aunties will say, geez, lotion up. Lotion up, or so then everybody, I just remember Aunt Melinda. And so my gratitude attack is about stories that you put into your mind, so you are not in the other stories and building castles and towns of these other stories that are negative or that hurt your heart. Your gratitude attack is about the stories that make your heart feel good and make your day go good. So Aunt Melinda, they used to call her Toto. That was like their affectionate Indian name for her. And then they used to call her Sandwich. And I'm a practicing Blackfoot speaker. I'm not really sure. So someone out there, can message, how do you say sandwich? But they used to call her that, Sandwich. And she was my dad's baby sister. She was the female baby. But Aunt Melinda, so anyway, I was looking at the color of my skin, and and sometimes I don't lotion up, but I was thinking I should be more loving to my skin. When I went through, healed from a skin cancer, it's gone. But I was thinking maybe Aunt Melinda, because my affectionate gratitude attack memory of her is, and I used to spend a lot of time with her. I used to always go sleep at her house. Before I moved home 30 years ago, one time, this was when I was still, she knew you can't bullshit the bullshitter. She knew I was drinking too much. So this is way, I don't know, 35 years, 36, 37 years ago. This gratitude attack is, let's go to 40 years ago when Aunt Melinda knew I was drinking too much. And so I would come home to visit her, and of course, when I was visiting her, we would lotion up, especially in July. There are elbows that say, look at your elbows, you better lotion up. But I remember I came home, I flew in, and we'd fly into, at that time, it's just a small airport in either Kalispell or Great Falls, and she picked me up. But she picked me up and she took me to Alcoholics Anonymous AA Roundup in Canada. And not saying, because I was coming home for a visit, and she thought the best, and this is this love. It was unconditional love, so sincere from my auntie. She knew what I was doing with my drinking and my addiction, Aunt Melinda. And she knew that she was out of love, picks me up from the airport. And she had been sober quite a bit. She was like the sponsor of everybody on the High Line, and a lot of them went to Thunderbird Lodge treatment program. And we're talking, we'll go back to like 60s and 70s. So Aunt Melinda picked me up, and we drove straight. And because I'm like a real Indian that respects my elders and respect my auntie. So since, when she sobered up, the same with my mother, I would never drink around them. That's so disrespectful when you drink around your elders and act a fool, act like a dry drunk, mess up their house, steal from their bank account, take their GA check, that kind of crap. Knock it off. That's how you hurt elders. So this gratitude attack, I was thinking about Aunt Melinda and how kind she was. She's just like the kindest person. And I guess I'm turning out like her, because one of the things she used to carry was like dog food. She'd have dog bones, dry dog food. And she used to go out and feed all the res dogs. She'd be driving down the street, and she'd go, "Oh, look at that poor me dog, that dog. We gotta stop and give him something to eat." So I would pull over, and she'd dig in the back of her vehicle and give the sustenance, give some of the food to the dog. And she said, Imida is this spirit that travels around. Imida interpretation, spirit that travels around. She said, when you feed them, we had a long-term relationship. There's many with these imidas. When you feed dogs, you get a blessing, and you can ask them for prayers. So I grew up with my auntie. We were always feeding dogs, our own dogs, but everybody else's dogs that might be pitiful. And so I have good emotion in my heart. So that's what I wanted to just share and speak with you today, is these gratitude attacks. We can, it's just like you can cause a heart attack, eating cow fat all the time, eating pork rinds, eating pork chops. Anyway, you can cause a heart attack. So I'm going to talk about how we cause a gratitude attack. And it's a mindful, some people, like all kinds of people are trying to write books and, sell stuff on, social media and all your commercials, they're trying to sell you a healthier life. And so, this is kind of some Indian teachings we're going to talk about. How do you have gratitude attack? So, I'm just this Aunt Melinda, I wanted to speak about her because, and I began with, just the gratitude of the color of my skin. And, I made it as far as Kalispell, and Atstanikiwa, Sister Lori told me, yeah, you can usually do a broadcast. There's good Wi-Fi by Target. But then I forgot War Pony has Wi-Fi. So I just realized, I can, as long as I'm in War Pony, this is my new Dodge Ram 2500, 410 horsepower, I can broadcast from anywhere, because in rural countries, rural Montana, there's places where, you got no cell coverage, you got no Wi-Fi, and so when and Indians, July, Indians are traveling to powwows. Indians, the tribes, the per diem Indians all get to pay to go here and there, because we like to travel. And it's just like, it's just like on Res Dogs. White people go to Cancun, and Indians go to IHS conferences. Or they go to tribal grassland conferences, or they go to tribal diabetes conferences, or they go to tribal prevent suicide conferences, or they go to tribal, see what's another good, fentanyl, stop the fentanyl overdose conferences, eh? So, and when we go there, this is just, I'm just thinking of all the good things about it. We bring all our kids. I saw Tuffy, you know, my little Sundance brother from Joe Ironman, and right when I'm only there one night and I got 2 suitcases. But Tuffy, he had, with all his family and kids, and he had a whole thing of mattresses, and he was loading up, and I go, we're real Indians. Look at you. We got to travoy all the time because we don't know. You never know when they're going to try to genocide you. You never know when they're going to try to wipe you up. So you carry everything in your travoy. And your travoy might be, you know, a van, might be, you know, like what do white people call it? A mom soccer van. Well, Indians, they call it powwow van. Anyway, so this gratitude attack, how can you and I and our families that want happier lives and want to sustain a harmonious, a serenity, a good way of life, to kind of like live by the teachings of our ancestors? How do we do that? The first step, and this is in storytelling, the first step is when you call up people or you communicate on Messenger, or because a lot of people just text. You know, talk good story, because you know your relatives. Oh shoot, get to the hospital, so and so is gonna die and they got 3 minutes, so it's a 4-hour drive. We'll try to get some money to get you a room, eh? And then, you know, so and so beat up so and so, and then they got arrested, and oh yeah, we need so and so got their leg cut off and now their other leg's cut off. Could you do a GoFund, eh? Woo! I know that's Indian. But let's try to do the gratitude attacks. Let's try to tell the stories. You know, when I was every time I see like Tuffy or John, you know, I was John, or I remember dancing 10 years with Buster Yellow Kidney, and that was a chapter that my mother strongly suggested for us because she danced with them for years, and she also supported and danced in Wombly, South Dakota. So I grew up with a mother that fasted, even when after the years she didn't, before she Sundance, she always fasted 4 times a year, and she fasted on the equinoxes. She fasted on the solstice, and sometimes she would go and fast, like, you know, out in the mountains and stuff. But later on, it was just such a part of her life. So we watched that as her children, and we watched Mom fast 4 times a year, most of our life, you know. And I was just thinking about that. So that's like I think, you know, so I cannot go to negative thinking or gossiping bad about someone or lateral oppression, because my mother would always say, help me get ready for my fast. Help me get ready for my fast, she would say. And you know, you don't say, well, how do we do that? You know, she said, just try to make this a safe place where we live. And the way that you make it a safe place is with prayers. So I was thinking, you know, so this gratitude attack, because of our mother's teachings and our sister Lori, I would always, I go into my hotel room, so I'm staying at Quintucknock, and sometimes it'll smudge, and you don't want to set off the fire alarm. But Lori said, just always put tobacco. So I had a lot of tobacco this time because I was just coming off this vacation. I just have a big old bag of tobacco that I got in New Mexico, and put it in the four corners. But lately, because there's been a lot of vacillation with energy, and some is good energy and some is not so good energy, you can put tobacco around your house, in your house, around your house, around your dog's house, around where your horses are, around your relatives. And even sometimes, and this is like an old Indian trick, take that tobacco, and like they used to, they would paint their horses and stuff. But I always, with the people I love, I always go put just a little pinch on their four tires of their car or their truck or their Indian. Cause man, one day I was, like some people count, VW bugs or something. I went into town. I go, I'm just gonna count how many Indian cars I see with duct tape windows. Because it might be a nice looking, especially, I don't know, just so I went in, and by the 10th car that I seen with a duct tape window, I just said, man, I love our people. They're so thrifty. They got ingenuity. Someone bust your window or whatever, rather than, get all mad about it, you just duct tape it up, smudge it out, keep on going. Remember, there's, because I know some of you, I met some really cool hippies this last week. One that introduced herself and said she was raised by two hippies. And I just said, oh, I love that, because now there's bumper stickers. The hippies were right. But some of those hippies, they kind of live like Indians. I mean, they were kind of like, they first of all, well, the one part I think when I think of hippies, I think of patchouli oil. I think of, and because Indians, in their armpits, they only have like one hair, or none. But the hippies all had like little boulder balls, underarm hair. And they didn't shave their legs. Because, when non-Indians go, they just get like real hairy. Anyway, just, I think it's humorous. So this idea of a gratitude attack. We were Native Wellness Institute. We were invited to, we've been, interesting enough, invited to have retreats for coalitions and national organizations that are going to save the earth. Save the earth. And save the water. Clean up areas so that there isn't pollutant in the ground. And so this group is called the Bears Ear Intertribal Coalition. And they're just, my gratitude attack is I just met these young geniuses. And they're kind of like I was saying, God, okay, I said, I have an assignment for you. You guys need to make your genius and how you look and that's how our AI has to be. Not these, non-native versions of AI, but they were, first of all, so respectful. We prayed with gratitude, and it was almost like a gratitude attack. Our first, we got there, and it was after the weekend here. There was, Arlie, Powwow, Browning, North American Indian Days. And so some people didn't come to work, you know. So anyway, we had to wait for our breakfast to be cooked first of all, and then brought to us. So we were and I was facilitating, and we're sitting in a circle with a table. And so our first was, I prayed a little bit, and I always express gratitude, thankfulness. And then we went around, and it was so beautiful because there were fluent speaker Navajo people, there were fluent speaker Anishinaabe people, and I just say practicing speakers. And so we really got to know each other because we began with everyone in the circle saying what they were grateful for. And no matter what, that's like the medicine of the talking circle, or the medicine of the Gona circle, the medicine of when you give reverence and respect for each person to speak. When the farther you go along the circle, Ishtabatapi, Creator, Tankashala, Mahio, Buddha, whatever is your belief comes down and gives a gratitude attack to the other people sitting in the circle. So by the time we went around and everyone prayed for gratitude, and then it got almost to the last gentleman, and his prayer was with tears. Some of his prayers was with tears about his young son, and I believe was only going to be a year old. So that gratitude attack. So one of the ways that you bring gratitude attack is to sit in a circle with no phones, maybe a smudge, because after we ate breakfast, we went down to the Kontaknak grass, or the water, and the ions of the water were flowing. And I asked some of, there was like 4 or 5 of them, because often there should be male energy, female energy, and 2 spirit energy. We asked them to dig a little hole, and so that we could put a coal in it, because we didn't have a smudge box, but we dig a little hole to the black dirt. We're looking for black dirt. And if you look around, I mean, there's not badgers running around there for black badger dirt, but they were so kind. They dug a hole, and and then I want to say because they were so much in gratitude attack, when they were done, they peeled back the grass, and then they rolled it back, and we took some of our utensils. We were digging with the fork and a knife from the restaurant, but we brought it back. I said, "Now come on, we're not those Indians that steal the salt and pepper shaker and the utensils." But we were out there, and they dug it, and then when we were done in the coal, and so one of the medicines, and I'm just describing, this is how we had our gratitude attack, is I had a bunch of bear root, or osha. I always just call it breathing medicine, because so many people used it during the pandemic to not go to the ventilator. And then now it just that's the gratitude. We're not worried about COVID and the ventilator, but we're healing from other things. And you can get it just like that bear root. Just grind it up, carry it on you, put it in your medicine pouch, put it in your Indian purse, put it in your, I was thinking too, because some people don't have an Indian purse. Well, put it in your other purse. I don't know, put it in. We should have a little purchase, little pouches for your scrotum pouch. Not here. Put your medicine pouch. and just so then I had a giveaway, just a bag of some OSHA and some breathing medicine, and we all took a turn, and I said, this is the time when you don't culturally, or what did the woman say, appropriate, pray how you pray. There's the diversity, so there's no wrong. So we took our time in this gratitude attack, and each person put the medicine down, and we did say, but whoever needs extra prayers, or let them hear your prayers, because the magic, the gratitude attack in that circle as you go around and talk about unconditional love and hard things, people you love that might need prayers, your children that might need prayers, your parents that might need prayers, your leadership that might need prayers, all of that. You just so we took our time, and it was so beautiful because the water coming in from, we used to call it Flathead Lake, but it's Salish Kootenai territory, and the ions were coming in, and we all took our turn. And so I'm describing, these are stories of how you get a gratitude attack. And everyone, at the end of the day, when we got in a circle, they said that changed their whole attitude about the whole day of listening and being together. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, a lot of this group, they formed on Zoom. Bears Ear Intertribal Coalition. And we've had a couple, Native Wellness Institute, that, and Native Wellness, us too. That's how we stayed connected. Sheesh, we were Zooming almost every day. Native Wellness, and I've said this before, I remember one week, we didn't know Zoom fatigue. I think we had 17 trainings on Zoom. Now we just have 17 trainings in person. So, I mean, we're trying to do better, find that balance. But this group kept getting gratitude attacks, and so much that there was other Indians at the Kuntuknuk, and these other Indians were the Buffalo people. Like, we had Mark McGee and all of that group from our reservation, but we had Fort Peck, we had Crows, we had Rocky Boy, we had all of the 8 reservations, and I didn't get to, and they had a speaker, and she was a young person who has done a lot of research on ecological indigenous knowledge. And bottom line, it was the same goals, the same mission as Bears Ears, was to save our earth and to save our land. So how has our land been saved and taken care of and appreciated and prayed for? So they invited us over because the speaker had a turtle framework. It was real interesting. And bottom line, they're looking at buffalo treaties. They're looking at all of the efforts that bring back the health of the land. So they invited us over to hear this presentation. And so here you have, again, not competing with each other, but meeting each other and coordinating. And that's Native Wellness Institute. Our gratitude attack is, we now have White Bison, Native Dads Network, Native American Fatherhood and Families Association, NAFA, the American Indian Cancer Association, and Native Wellness Institute. We're working together and not competing. So yesterday, my first day back to work, I seen Indians naturally doing it. And so they invited us over, and it was kind of interesting because we were in planning and having so much good dialogue, having all these gratitude attacks, having tears of happiness, and anyway, that we said, well, we got to go over there in 3 minutes. We got to give them a present. And then it was kind of like, well, what, because like, what do you do when you come to coordinate? You give gifts, you give presents. So the group was, looking around, and I go, it's symbolic. It's not like we have to go over there and you guys give them the title to all of our cars. Or it's not like we're going to say, okay, we're going to bring you guys 20 horses, 2 Pintos, the rest Mustangs, eh? So anyway, we were looking around, and one of our brothers had brought dark chocolate and chocolate from Sweden, but he had like a whole box of it. And sometimes us chocoholics, we will cover it. And I go, well, why don't we just give him that whole box? And there was like, I don't know, 50 pieces. There was 2 boxes. So anyway, we brought up all these chocolates, and we just said, we just want to say thank you for inviting us, because it was like, we're gonna do it for we would go over there, and should we bring a chair? It's almost like, and they had enough chairs, and we went over there and gifted them chocolate. Better than 20 horses anyway, and blankets and whatever else. So and then I saw other protocols, because my niece Latrice Tatsy is part of this group, and she had brought her children, and they had been swimming, but her daughter came in, and I guess when I came in, I didn't know, because I sat where her chair was. And so when Latrice came in, of course I had to get up, and you have a gratitude. Okay, when you hug people, you have a gratitude attack. That's why we need to do hug therapy. That's why we need to, like, it's okay to shake hands, and Blackfoot, the elders are always, it's intimate. They'll kiss you on the lips. That's how much unconditional love they have for you. So anyway, I didn't know, I said, oh, Latrice, so I had to get up and hug her. And because I was sitting in the chair that her daughter, because she listens, she comes in, she's very respectful. But it's funny, because she just sat down in front of her mom, like how we sit down in ceremony. The kids will just sit down in ceremony. She just sat down and was listening to the speaker, and listening to, her mother played with her hair. So you can get gratitude attacks that's often, like you'll see Indians, with our children and our babies, or our mates, our courtship. She was just playing with her hair. And then all of a sudden, I had a gratitude attack. I thought, geez, I knew her mom, Cassie Kafalookie. She would be so proud if she saw her daughter right now. Finished her degree. Taught her daughter how to behave. And behave, is different. Like badass auntie, when I look at people and I go, behave. Behave. But there's when you could tell Indians that behave and have a gratitude attack when you behave like an Indian. And anyway, that just came to me, because I'm with you today. Welcome to Native Wellness Institute's Wellness Wednesday, and the topic is around gratitude attacks. And so I'm describing just how beautiful, because that yesterday, all of the love and the respect of these 2 groups that love the earth and love buffalo are also looking how they can bring in more money, more salary, more resources. We're I don't think it's 100 degrees, but I'm gonna pull my phone over out of the heat and just visit with you here. And so they were looking at sources of funding and sources of generating money to continue the programs and to grow. And so there was just all of this gratitude attack around. They were sharing, sharing and not competing. And so I want to kind of, what is another way that we have gratitude attacks? And we were doing that with our group in Native Wellness. We always do it when we bring out the trauma web, looking through trauma lenses, and then when we look through healing lenses. So one of I'm just having such gratitude because this young group that formed this coalition, yes, they're, when they did the trauma web, there's so many, the death of a loved one, gambling addiction, violence, sexual abuse, all of that on one side, and then the behavior. This group was awesome because they shifted to what's the not so healthy behavior, and then how do you bring wellness to the workplace? How do you bring the behavior? And we quickly went to the behavior on what is behavior that is well and brings growth and reconciliation and lateral forgiveness and lateral kindness and respect to your co-workers. And it's co-workers, but it's you can't just act one way with your family and then go to work and act another way. Act the same way. Listening to them, putting down your phone and having a visit. Hearing their story and not giving advice, but just saying, I've watched you these last 40 years. I think everything's going to be okay because I'm confident that you have the prayers, the skills, and the behavior to get through this. This too shall pass. And so I always have to check the time, because sometimes when I'm visiting with you, I could feel positive energy coming from whoever's watching. I get a gratitude attack, when you make comments or you share this or you listen to it. So when one of the ways that we need to get better at behavior is our love behavior, our love relationships. And the way that you do that, and in this group, we did our resiliency assessment. And you assess, you have and you also have ACE scores. And if your ACE score is over 4, then you got to work on the healing. So that the love comes into not only your romantic relationships, but relationships raising children, your relationships with your parents, your relationships with your siblings, and your relationships with Ishtabatabiop, your creator. All relationships, your relationship with yourself. Self-care and taking care of moi, or you, is the best behavior you can model to your children. And what does self-care mean? And this love, because if we had conditional love, are we only loved by that was modeled to us, then that's what we replicate. So if we were modeled being raised, in our ceremonies and in our kindness and that unconditional love, where we are allowed to be ourselves and find our true authentic self. Whoa, that was what this group came to, and it was magic, because they're like today they're at the bison range, and then tomorrow we gave them suggestions to go to Glacier National Park, and I just, so this, so I if you're raised with frozen feeling people, and that is, frozen feelings is, boarding school syndrome, where there's no show of affection. It's just that you have to, like, we always, one of our aunties, her house, it used to always smell like Lysol, because it was so clean. And then one of our other aunties, her house smelled like bleach. Just bleach, everything's clean. Because when you're raised in boarding school, to get, praise is, your bed is made so tight that you could bounce a quarter on it, eh? Or that everything is, scrubbing the floor with the toothbrush, eh? So it's, if there's conditional love, then that's the kind of relationships that you will have, and the pattern that you will have as you grow up. That's why, those of us, like in recovery, in between the walls, they'll always say, recovering people don't have relationships, they take hostages. What an icky way to think about relationships. Oh yeah, let's see, which hostage shall I take at the powwow? Which hostage shall I take at work? Jeez. Anyway, so then one of the gratitude attacks I want you to think about, while we're sitting here having this dialogue on Wellness Wednesday, is unconditional love. We have to show the kindness and so like, even this group was, I just noticed all of them just naturally, if there was a little, empty plastic bottle or a little piece of paper, we all just automatically went out there and started cleaning it up. Cleaning. That's like unconditional love for the earth. And so that unhealthy, that toxic, is people that just litter, or people, like I was thinking about depression or not feeling loved. Always have, like an extreme is hoarders or messy house where nothing's cleaned. And sometimes, when people look at our res, they think it's very unclean. That's just a sign of the trauma. So there has to be that unconditional love for the earth. And so in our time here, think about how you show where you live unconditional love. Like, your kitchen area, to be in a good, because cooking, and not, cooking is not microwaving. Cooking is not pushing the button on a blender, eh? And cooking doesn't mean you have to shoot it, gut it, and fillet it. But it does. But that is part of cooking, getting the food. But say your kitchen area. Make sure that your kitchen, you show it unconditional love, so that, you can see everything that you have to work with. Because what I remember about unconditional love with the people who raised me is there wouldn't be much in the kitchen. But they would just fix the best meals. I mean, our people are so ingenuitive. I mean, just my favorite meal is like spotted dog. Raisins and rice, if you put some cinnamon. or if there wasn't much commodities. I mean, I watched my grandma, my mom, they used to have potted meat, and they'd clean it, cook it slow with what vegetables we could get, put some macaroni. That's like, macaroni soup. Give that to any rural Indian and you'll give them a blessing. You'll give them gold. Macaroni soup. Macaroni and cheese. I don't think I'm hungry, but I was all of a sudden, that's nurturing food. So this healthy, unconditional, how do we get these gratitude attacks? Think about feeding people. Because I think they really like that dark chocolate. But, it could be cinnamon rolls. It could be, I had one of them. We're getting ready for the 28th annual Two Spirit Gathering. So I had the pleasure of a sister came and visited at North American Indian Days. She's a grass dancer. And so anyone that, I invite into my home, and I don't invite not just anybody, but when they leave, I can just hear my elders that say, give them something to take with them. So I always give them meat. So you go in the freezer. I had to take a good look. There was still a lot of hamburger, buffalo ini hamburger from the buffalo I won last year. There was still some bit, and then there was buffalo boiling meat. And man, that was so. And then she gave me this necklace. Oh my God, I've just been wearing it because it's just, you give your best, that love, something that you cherish. If someone's, and Indians, they say, oh, I like that. So what do? They take it off and give it to you. That's how that works. That love, and with no issue. Yeah, here, take this. But I remember looking at her face, and I said, wow, there's that buffalo hamburger is really good in meatloaf, spaghetti sauce. Sometimes I just cook it and eat it with the onion. And boy, oh boy, I just saw, it's like gratitude attack in her heart and gratitude attack in my heart when you gift meat like that. So we can bring that by sharing with what we have. And so now, like I was just telling everybody, like, remember during the pandemic when we only had to get in these boxes, the Brady Bunch boxes. I know you have a lot in your closet, and I know some of it's still good. Give it away. I know that, everybody's going back to camping again. Give them a good sleeping bag. Give them I go back to, man, that was the best visual. As I come out of my hotel room, and there's Tuffy with, 4 little mattresses. And he had all of them in his arms like this. Because they were sleeping all the time, and the whole family. So they probably made some beds, around the beds, and they slept. And see, that's unconditional love. In the same household, make it safe, make it a good place to sleep, make it, the pillows, the blankets. And and this is like the on scene, is if you're all sleeping, and that's why when we all slept in a hogan or a teepee, we all slept together and we dreamt together. When your ancestors come to visit you in your dreams, or when you astral travel in your dreams, you make a safe place so that everybody can dream good. And that's what it was doing with this family. They all slept together. That's like an ancient, what's the definition of indigenous knowledge? Is a safe place so you can remember your dreams. A safe place so that you can share and story tell your dreams. Because your dreams will guide you. That's your ancestors come through, or people that you love, or there's unconditional love. They'll come into your dreams. And especially those ones when that you've lost, they'll often come back in your dreams and they'll be young again. Or they'll be wearing something when they were of health, good health. And they pay you a visit in your dreams. So have a gratitude attack by your nest, your house, your bedroom. In your bedroom, make it a safe place where you sleep. Make it a place where there's quiet. Sometimes, there's pros and cons to not have a television, or not plugging your phone in your bedroom. Have one of your smudge places there. Have pictures. Like I'm really looking forward to going home right now to my place. I always have a picture of Grandma Agnes Iron Pipe, and she's with Gunnaskina Mousy. And right where I smudge before I go to bed. And I always take the smudge and I grab the smoke and I put it to her lips, like, oh, I kiss you. So I kiss my Grandma Agnes every night before I go to bed. And then go with that to Gunnaskina, me too. And I was just thinking about that because sometimes I'll say, Grandma, could you help me? Could you help me bring me a dream that guides me? And then I have gratitude attack. Bring me a dream that guides me. And it always does. And sometimes, she has me travel. I travel. And maybe some of you are watching this. I travel to you and I'm in your dream. It just, because some of us are blessed. I mean, I don't remember, but some of us travel and we I don't want to say doctor, but we give you a blessing when we come in your dream. When you're still alive and you go and that's a blessing. So this gratitude attack, and I guess, I'm saying I know that happens because there's too many people that say, hey, you were in my dream, or you were doing this. And so I make your bedroom a place, and if you're sleeping with your partner in the same bed, because I know some people are married and they sleep in separate beds because one snores. Or they have mad sex. And then they go back to the bed because the other one snores. Anyway, make it comfortable. Make it a place where, the smells. During the pandemic, remember we all had lavender plants in our bedroom so we could calm down. Now you can just get lavender oil and throw it all over the pillow and throw it all over each other. Get all the oils. Anyway, think about, and gratitude attacks is with your mind. Think about things of the heart. Things that give you that good feeling, that lift your heart up. And that's what Indians are doing right now. I just love it. I was watching all these kids. Oh, I ran into one of my other, Uncle Gerald's granddaughter, Marty. She's from Salis Kootenai, when I was coming down. And man, when I ran into her, it was just so... But I didn't know. I just stopped there because I stop at Blue Bay and I put out tobacco, because that was where Aaron Perry always wanted a healing center. And I think it is not like tribally funded or anything, but it's like, I didn't know that Marty was there with her daughter and her family. But I went out on the pier because I'd been thinking about Uncle Gerald a lot, Gerald Cooper, and I was putting out the tobacco and asking him, Uncle, if there's any way you can help us with our family, please help us. And then when I walked back, I started to go to my truck, and then Marty was running after. She goes, hey, she had to run after me. She goes, do you remember me? I'm Clarice's daughter. And I go, oh God, so then we had a gratitude attack. We just hugged each other for the longest time, and tears just came out of her eyes. She was taking a day off from work, spending it with her kids, looking forward to days like that, swimming in the water. So with that, I think I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you listening in. This is Native Wellness Institute, and I just come on spontaneous each week, a positive, productive, and proactive message. And so today it was about gratitude attacks. So I'll see you next Wednesday.